Hi, and welcome back to Faith and Flower. I'm Robin. We just returned from visiting our family in Switzerland, and in my last video, I gave you a bit of a tour of our family's home and some of the things we like to do when we have the chance to be there. If you missed that video, I'll have it linked down in the description box. If you are like me, whenever I travel, no matter how beautiful the location, it's always good to be back at home. While away, I often find myself planning for our return, things like new recipes I want to try, or I'll be inspired by what I see to spruce up our yard. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy to leave such a beautiful place, but home is still home if you know what I mean, and we are super blessed to have the opportunity to call Switzerland our home away from home once in a while. While we were away, we got the news that a severe hailstorm hit our neighborhood. A neighbor let us know that they didn't spot any broken windows on our home, but we weren't sure what to expect when we got back. At first, it looked like just a lot of debris from the trees, but upon closer inspection, there was a lot of damage. The hail was baseball-sized, at least, according to our insurance adjuster, which he could tell by the severity of the damage. The solar panels on our garage roof were completely crushed. All of the roofs need to be replaced. Our pool deck needs refinishing, and we'll need a new pool cover. But even though the hail went right through the roof flashing in one place, we didn't have any damage to the interior of our home, so we actually are very lucky. It's going to be a lot of work to get everything back in order, but I'm a very positive person by nature, so I just wanted to get to the cleanup. Even though that only made a slight dent in all that needs to be done outside, I feel much better, and I can now turn my attention to my other homemaking tasks like meal planning and grocery shopping. Of course, after vacation, there's hardly anything in the refrigerator, and so I needed to do a lot of restocking, especially on fresh items. So I got quite a lot of produce at Costco. I got these asparagus. They still look really good. I'm not quite sure where they come from because I know they're not exactly in season, but I bought these once before we left and they were really good. I'm out of lemons and all of the lemon juice that I had in the freezer, so I got a big bag of those, and I will do the same. I will juice them all and then freeze them in ice cube trays, and I will save some of the zest as well and use some while they're still nice and fresh. I got a big bag of sweet onions. These artisan romaine lettuces, I really love these. They're usually really good and quite a good price at Costco this week. I also got a big bag of sweet potatoes. I have some plans for those in a recipe, and I like to keep those on hand anyway. And then our favorite tomatoes are these Campari ones. So I got another container of those along with some organic baby Bella mushrooms. I also have those in mind for a recipe this week. Grapefruit, we have been loving having our grapefruit, and they will be coming in season again soon. Not quite sure where these came from, actually Peru. But they'll be in season here in the US in a couple more months, and we really enjoy having these for breakfast. I also got a big bag of carrots. I like to keep them on hand, and I need some for recipes this week. And I couldn't resist getting the peaches. I was really surprised that peaches were still fresh there at Costco, because I think they're quite out of season by now, but you could smell them when you walk by. They smell so good. So hopefully these are going to be good. I've had lots of different batches of them from Costco over the summer, and they were all really good. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that those are as well. Also, I got these cage-free eggs. I usually like to get the pasture-raised ones, and they did not have any at Costco. So usually I would just bypass that, but I didn't want to make a second trip to another grocery store, so I just grabbed these. I also got more of the grass-fed butter. I got some heavy cream because I want this for a recipe this week. Some mozzarella cheese. I'm going to use that for a dinner I'm making tonight, and I always like to have some on hand. It comes in a 2-pack, so I generally open one and freeze the other one. In fact, I even divide this big bag and freeze part of that because we don't go through it quite too fast, and it freezes super. And then I decided to get this A2 organic whole milk. I can use this for making yogurt. It's ultra pasteurized. It's not lactose free, which is what I normally like to get, but apparently it has a lot less lactose in it, so I'm going to give it a try, and I can use it in recipes, and if it bothers me, I'll just take a lactose pill. But I thought I'd give that a try, and they don't have whole lactose-free milk at Costco, so this is the closest thing I could get, and like I said, I'm going to give it a try. I also got some avocado oil. I need to make mayonnaise, and I really like using avocado oil for that. This Bon Maman 4-fruit preserves is one of our favorites, and we're just about out, or I think we ran out right before vacation, so needed another one of those. And of course, tuna. I love having this in the prepper pantry, and we're getting low on that. Also, I got some organic chicken thighs, again for a recipe that I'm going to make with the sweet potatoes, a sheet pan dinner this week. And I was really glad that they have these Char Ciabatta artisan style rolls that are gluten-free. These are really Peyton's favorite, and our Costco hasn't had them for a little while. So I found them at a different Costco before we left on vacation and got a couple of packs, but I decided just to pick up an extra. They last until December, I think, so for quite a while, and I could freeze them too. Also, I got these Bush's baked beans. They don't always have these at Costco, and I just love having them in the prepper pantry. We use them randomly for lunches or sides all the time. And organic tomato sauce. I'm gonna need some more of that for a recipe that I'm making tonight. And again, it's something that I just like to keep on hand. So that is it for my Costco haul this week. I did a little bit of meal planning, and I have to sit down and do a little bit more, but I know that I have enough for at least this next few days, and I'm stocked up on a lot of the things that we use regularly. Before we left for Switzerland, I was feeling very uninspired when it comes to cooking. In fact, I was in quite a rut. So I got some great inspiration from watching some of Becky's recent videos over at Acre Homestead. I saw her make this recipe for easy bolognese gnocchi bake, and it looked so good, and I knew I had most of the ingredients when I got home, so I planned to make this the first night we got back, and it was so good. If you haven't seen Becky at Acre Homestead, I will link these 2 videos where I got recipes for my video down in the description box below. If you have never seen her and you need some recipe inspiration, I highly recommend her. For this recipe, you basically make a very simple bolognese sauce. You add the gnocchi, top it all with cheese, and bake it. I sauteed a pound of ground beef, Added onions, carrots, and celery, some Italian seasoning, garlic, salt and pepper, and then added tomato sauce and diced tomatoes. That was basically it for the sauce. The recipe called for 2 packages of gnocchi, and I only had 1, so I decided to take out half of the sauce to freeze for later. My future self is definitely going to thank me for that. And to the rest of the sauce, I added the gnocchi, gave it a good stir to make sure they were all covered, and next I transferred it to an oiled baking pan and topped it with mozzarella and Parmesan cheese. It bakes in the oven for just about 25 to 30 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you let it sit on the counter for 5 minutes before serving. This was absolutely delicious. My family loved it, and I'm definitely going to add it to my repertoire. The other thing I was looking forward to doing when I got home was trying some recipes from my friend Mary's new cookbook and from her recent videos. While we were away, Peyton and I caught a bad cold, and I want to do what I can to restore and boost our immune systems and to ensure that we get lots of good probiotics in our system as we head into the colder months. One afternoon this week, I enjoyed some time in the kitchen making sauerkraut, elderberry syrup, and a star anise tincture. The star anise tincture is something new I'm trying, inspired by Mary's recent video, which I'll link below. It has antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and lots of other beneficial qualities, and is so simple to make. I poured vodka over the star anise to cover and will let it sit for about a week. Then I'll strain the anise out and pour the liquid into an amber dropper bottle to store. Then I'll add a few drops to some tea regularly to enjoy all of the benefits. Elderberry syrup is not new to me. I have used it for many years, and I know firsthand how well it works to boost immunity and to shorten the length of colds and flu. It's very simple to make at home and costs far less than buying it pre-made. I just combined 4 cups of filtered water with 2 cups of dried elderberries in a saucepan and bring it to a boil. I bought some very good quality organic elderberries on Amazon, and I'll link them below along with the recipe. After it comes to a boil, reduce the heat and let it simmer until the liquid is reduced by about half. While it was simmering, I started making sauerkraut. I've made it several times before, but I wanted to try Mary's version, which is just a little bit different from how I've made it in the past. It starts the same way by first removing some of the outer leaves to reserve for later, quartering the cabbage, and removing the core. Then finally slicing the cabbage, which I like to do by hand, but you could also use a food processor. big bowl, so the best option I have is my large Dutch oven to mix the cabbage with some salt. This is how I've done it in the past and it works really well. I usually just use my hands to mix the cabbage, kind of massaging it, but Mary suggests a kraut pounder, which I don't have, so I decided to use my rolling pin. Then I alternated pounding and mixing and massaging with my hands so that the salt will help the cabbage release its moisture. After quickly checking my elderberry syrup, I peeled an apple, which is something I haven't used in my sauerkraut previously. Mary says that pureeing an apple along with the cabbage cores and some filtered water will be my insurance policy to guarantee a successful ferment. So I put the apple, cabbage core, and filtered water to cover in my blender and gave it a whirl. Then I mixed it into the cabbage, which had been sitting for about 5 minutes and had started to release all of its liquid. Then I pack it into my half-gallon mason jar, making sure to compact the cabbage as tightly as possible. Pour all of the remaining juice into the jar and then fold the reserved cabbage leaves and place them on top of the cabbage mixture. Then I placed a glassed weight on top of the leaves to keep all of the cabbage submerged under the liquid. After cleaning up the outside of the jar, I place the jar in a dish to catch any escaping liquid and then put it in a corner of my kitchen where it will sit for about a week. You can find this detailed recipe in Mary's cookbook, which I'll link below, or in her video over on Mary's Nest here on YouTube. Getting back to the elderberry syrup. Now that the liquid is reduced by half, I can strain out all of the berries. I like to mash them a bit so that every drop possible makes it through the strainer. I also like to do this in the sink because it can get a little messy and elderberries are highly pigmented, and this way I can prevent stains on the countertop or anything else it might come in contact with. add to the juice is some honey, which sweetens it and has great antibacterial qualities, and the juice of 1 lemon. I like to add the honey while the juice is still warm so that the honey dissolves easily, and you can use anywhere from 1 to 2 cups. So I started off with a cup, and I realized I had about another 1/4 of a cup or so left in the honey container, so I just decided to go ahead and put that in. Some people like it a little bit sweeter, some people like it less. It's just a matter of taste. See what I mean? Messy. I repurposed a dark green glass bottle, which will make the syrup easy to pour. I still have some left, so I put that in a mason jar that I can use to refill the bottle, and I'll store both in the refrigerator. This will be a great natural supplement, about a tablespoon or so per day to help keep our immune systems up, and will be a powerful tool in case we do catch another cold, because it can really reduce the length of a cold or flu too. It feels really good to have these things that I can easily make myself to keep us healthy as we enter the colder months. Let me know if you've tried these or if you have other natural supplements or remedies that you like to prepare. I'm really curious and would love to find out what you're up to down in the comments. This last recipe today is one that I was really looking forward to making after our vacation. It's another one that I saw at Acre Homestead. Patrick watched that video with me and we both thought it looked great. Plus, Becky has the best reactions to a good recipe. You have to watch her. Plus, it's a sheet pan recipe, which won me over right away. You know I'm a huge fan of those. I'll let you know right away, it was fantastic. We especially love the sauce. It's called chili honey chicken and sweet potatoes with cilantro yogurt. After I prepped the sweet potatoes, green onions, and cilantro, I mixed up the glaze for the chicken and sweet potatoes. I just combined honey, chili powder, salt, pepper, ginger, and garlic powder and whisked until fully combined. I switched up the method a little bit and decided to toss the sweet potatoes in the sauce before laying them out on a sheet pan lined with parchment paper. Then I tossed the chicken thighs in the remaining sauce before adding them to the sheet pan. While that was baking, I mixed up the cilantro, green onions, lime juice, salt, garlic powder, chili powder, jalapenos, and I used mild pickled ones instead of fresh, and the Greek yogurt, all in the blender until smooth. This sauce is so fresh and full of flavor. It would be great on so many things. I was very happy to have plenty left over and will definitely be enjoying that over the next week. These recipes were both amazing. My family loved them. I'm going to be adding them to my regular recipe rotation at their request, and I hope that you will enjoy them too. I am motivated now to be on the lookout for more really great recipes to try, and if we find some good ones, I will be sure to share. Thank you for spending your time with me here today. I hope that you found this video helpful and hopefully inspiring for this fall. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already done so, I want to invite you to subscribe. We would love to have you join our community of subscribers here at Faith and Flour. They are the best on YouTube, and you can meet them down in the comments. I'll see you next Sunday, and until then, have a wonderful week.